From crime to Bruce Springsteen, let's just talk about a guy that's unhinged overseas. We know about the statement he made, caught on camera, not caught, but he said it on camera. Everyone heard it, how he just ripped President Trump and talk about basically we've lost democracy because of him. President Trump came back at him. He did not back off. Springsteen doubling, tripling down, says the majority of our elected representatives have utterly failed to protect the American people from the abuses of an unfit president and a rogue government. They have no concern or idea what it means to be deeply American.
What is up with Bruce Springsteen, that is? He is taking his message in disagreement with Donald Trump to the UK, Manchester, Liverpool, London, and he is airing out the negativeness of America. Now, what's interesting about this is that he's speaking to a group of people that are way off the cusp when it comes to how America rose. Just to give you an example, recently, within the last couple of weeks, and I'm quite sure that our friend Bruce has gotten this information, but Bill Gates and the Parliament of the UK has decided to spend $65 million to block the sun. Now, he can talk about that because that is bringing harm to the vegetation, that is bringing harm to people because we need the sunlight. That is just straight up foolishness. But notice what he talks about, the things that he says about Donald Trump. Now, granted, it's okay to say those things, but be fair across the board. Because, Bruce, you represented the Harris campaign. You represented Joe Biden. Let's look at Joe Biden right now. There's a question that President Trump put out there. Why is it that the cancer that Joe Biden has is at such a late stage right now? Why hasn't it been checked earlier? Or why hasn't it been exposed earlier? Why is it now that it is in such an aggressive stage? That's something that smells bad right there, based on who you are representing, but not holding the same standards. It's one thing if it was just Joe Biden, the non-politician, but we're talking about the president of the United States. So the things that we hold against one, the same equation has to be on the other, especially in the season that we're in right now. This season is very serious. Here's another example with Bruce. He's a musician, but the musicians have the same energy as the rappers, as the comedians, as Hollywood, and the things that they represent is not where America is going. We have a completely shift. There's things that we say about America, about we are built on certain principles. Well, those principles we're built on are principles that we hope to become. We were never that way, but it was always a hope. And we're going into that area of hope right now. We're seeing things that are coming out in legislations, whereas we're no longer frivolously spending the way that we once were. And that's the problem that I believe that Bruce is having on how we spend our money, meaning that he wants us to spend it in such a way that is going into Hollywood. When you look at the agenda where money is being thrown after certain things for the alphabet community, money is being thrown at USAID, where it takes those same principles and bring it all around the world. Well, we're coming to a time where legislation, voting, is making a difference. Even the Pope, based on the office of the Pope, is no longer supporting those things of what the Democrats have supported. We just have to call it out. And we have to call it out on both sides. Just because it's not working in your favor doesn't mean you call it out. No, we have to call it out for what is real. We're in real time right now. So whatever you're bringing at the president right now, we're seeing a greater exposure in the reverse on the other side. We're seeing the energy of karma being effective in a way that we may have never seen it before. That's the season that we're in. This season is very aggressive. And many people are hurt. Many people are wounded by how it's going, but we're dealing with an atmosphere of morals. We're dealing with an atmosphere of morality. Things are being changed, even in the education system, for how it came to pervert the minds of our little ones. Now the money is drying up and people are concerned. Well, many parents are figuring out and they're saying, you know what? I'm going to homeschool. Well, Mr. Bruce, what are you doing? In your addressing, I would recommend that we expand, not just that of Trump, and then of all places, you're bringing it to the UK, who has, in many ways, worse challenges than what we have here in America. Even Canada is saying, for the issues that we have in Canada, notice what they're saying, is because of America. What's happening on one side of the equation has to happen on the other. People are being called out. And so what they're doing in a calling out, they're pushing the blame, passing the buck. Well, we're unable to pass the buck. We're unable to kick the can. Why? Because it stops now. So you may have more that's coming out as Bruce, but those same that's coming out are having to think twice about what they're saying. They have to retract what they're saying. This is enjoyable if you can take the heat. Because look, there's many people that can't take the heat. There's many people that are in the comments that are saying, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. So wrong about what? All you could do is just observe and look. It didn't justify bringing a comment because, look, a response, I should say, because all we got to do is just keep living and observe and see. We're in a different season where there's responsibility right now. We're in as I said before, we're in that Timberland strap economy, bootstrap economy. Whereas you have to be about business. It's not the same. It's not freebies anymore. People still want freebies. They still want giveaways. They're disturbed about the Section 8. Well, we've made money on Section 8, but the country cannot afford it anymore. The bills and everything else is due. The debts are due. And if the debts are not dealt with, guess what we're going to have to deal with? There's such a thing called judgment. There are laws, just like there are laws where we go to the courthouse and we have the Supreme Courts, where there's universal laws, there's spiritual laws. And I can tell you, for the way that we see that things are happening now, our country is trying to figure out how to avoid the laws of judgment. For some, it's going to be justice and it has to be dealt with. And for others, it's going to be judgment. This is the season that we're in. Thank you for coming in and being here with us at Beyond the Noise. Look, give us one of those. Give us a like. Share, subscribe. I thank you so much for being here with us. We are a subsidiary of Kingdom Builders Ministry. Enjoy your journey. Thank you.